Good afternoon and welcome to the 10th Annual Dreammakers and Risktakers Awards presented by the Innovation Tri-Valley Leadership Group. ITV is a collective of regional leaders who are advancing the region as a place of collaboration and empathy and proudly celebrates innovators at every age in the Tri-Valley. I'm Tim Sabrani, the co-chair of ITV's Education and Workforce Development Committee.
Well, from autonomous vehicles to drone technology, the Tri-Valley will need an abundance of future leaders who are critical thinkers and problem solvers to really keep us on the forefront of innovation. Coding workshops in the Bay Area now begin for students at very young ages in order to be sure that we can really meet that future demand. In Dublin, though, student leaders make sure that those workshops offer intriguing challenges and problem solving that is engaging. The Youth Coding Workshop from Dublin High School is being honored for bringing programming literacy to middle school students all across the region. So, please meet Kaif Giloni and Shreyas Lad as representatives of the 8-member Youth Coding Workshop team of award winners.
Hello, my name is Kaif Gilani.
And I'm Shreyas Lad.
And we are part of Youth Coding Workshops located in Dublin. And first of all, I'd really like to thank our amazing principal, Ms. Byrne, for nominating us for this award.
We'd also like to thank 6 of our staff members who've been with us since the start, including Samarth, Shreya, Manat, Nishad, Harun, and Aditya, as well as 15 of our other staff members who joined us along the way and have contributed their heart and souls into this organization. Honestly, YCW wouldn't have been anything without them.
Yeah, so YCW, Youth Coding Workshop, you guys do amazing work. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it and what you think is the coolest thing about this initiative?
So there are 3 major things that we like to focus on in Youth Coding Workshops, and they can be summarized in 3 words: learn, collaborate, and compete. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, learning. YCW has a very extensive curriculum, so if any middle schooler was to join YCW, whether they knew a lot about programming or they didn't know anything, we have things for them, right? We have over 100 videos of curriculum ranging from game design with Scratch, web development with HTML, and core development with Python, and a lot of other curriculums coming soon. And where do they learn these curricula? Well, they actually learn it in our branches. And so what we do is we like to go to middle schools and we like to establish enrichment programs. For example, Fallon Middle School and Cottonwood Creek Middle School, we've already established branches there, and we offer semester-long courses in whatever is kids are the most interested in. A lot of them are interested in Python, of course, but we also sometimes have HTML and Scratch in the mix.
Maybe you could tell me a little bit about what inspired your organization to help students in this way.
So for me personally, I started programming at a young age, but I only really started getting into it in around middle school. But when I actually started to, when I had these ideas to build projects, which I got over thinking about it a bunch of times, I turned to my middle school and saw there were no opportunities for me to really keep progressing. So I had to really rely on myself a lot. So I had to read documentation, I had to look at tutorials, and I had to build my own projects a lot of the time to learn anything that I wanted to. So I first started off in Python, and then I moved on to web development with HTML, then I moved on to x86 assembly, and then Java, and so on and so forth. And every single time, I'd have to keep building projects to keep learning. So once I got to high school, however, everything was different, because in high school we have all of these different courses with a strict progression. So anyone who's just starting out can go from this introductory course to more advanced courses and more specialized courses as they continue. Now, it was too late for me and a lot of my friends to take full advantage of this because we had to go through this a lot sooner. And on top of that, constantly building these projects day after day was incredibly difficult, and it required a lot of motivation because, we didn't even know what we wanted to do, and it's difficult to ask any young child or kid to pursue something that they're hopefully only going to reap the rewards of in the future. So it's very difficult for new students who are starting out to try to take this path and learn these different things, because there's so much effort and dedication that needs to be put into something that you don't know will even come to fruition or not. So that's why we try to help these students find that motivation and try to find the fun in programming and problem solving.
And through all this work, what would you say is the greatest reward that you've seen so far that you could cite that's really given you the greatest amount of satisfaction?
Well, when it comes to teaching, I like to think of a teacher akin to a gardener. What I mean by that is that, a gardener plants their seeds, sets up their saplings, and just watches it grow no matter how long it takes. 3 years, 5 years, and it grows into this amazing tree bearing amazing fruit. And if you look at it from a teacher's perspective, it's the same thing. You have these children who don't know about the subject you're going to be teaching them. You provide them the resources, you provide them the curriculum, the time, and they start learning from it, and they start absorbing the information, and they start growing. And you get to see what they do with the knowledge you give to them, right? The water that you give to them. They start growing, and they start making things you didn't even expect they'd make, right? Like some of my students make the most amazing projects out of things we teach, and I didn't even expect them to do that. And so honestly, that's the greatest reward, just seeing students do things that blow your mind, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great example. It's I love hearing that. So that's great. And I would say if there's others that are watching this, or others that know you at Dublin High, know what you're doing, and maybe they had their own initiative they wanted to undertake, give back to the community in some other way, what advice would you give a student who's looking to undertake a community service initiative like the one that you're doing now?
So there are really three things that are really important to keep in mind. So the most important one, number one, is to keep in mind that you can't create a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. So you need to make sure the most important thing you try to find is, what difference am I going to make? What change is going to happen under my watch? So once you have that, now you have something that you can start working towards. And number two, you need to make sure this problem is actually specific to you. It's something that makes you tick. It's something that makes you keep going forward. Doing this is very, very hard. You have to juggle your school and your home life, and also this entire other entity simultaneously. So you have to do a lot of these things at the same time. And unless you're properly motivated, unless you have the drive to keep going, nothing is going to happen. So it's all upon you to decide what you're going to make of this time that you have. And number three, you need to make sure that you find people that share the same vision as you. So nothing can be, the world can't be changed by a single person working alone. That would be completely impossible. You need to find other people who you can work with to achieve whatever you want, whatever you set out to do. So you also need to have a vision for how you're going to proceed, and learn how to lead other people and teach them and work together in order to execute this goal. And that's the only way that real change happens. It's when you're motivated, it's when you have a problem to solve, and when you have other people to work with you.
That's so insightful. Thank you for sharing that insight, and thank you for the work that you're doing at YCW, and congratulations on this award. We wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.